Welcome into Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Today on the show, Freddie says, "Yeah, fired." Also, too, Matt Olson may have found his power stroke finally, and if the front office gives Nate the tools, he's got to do something with them. We'll talk about that up next. It is Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into a Wednesday edition of Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. We ask you to head over to youtube.com. When you get there, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser, find the page, subscribe to it, leave us a comment. We are also free and available on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Download us today, leave us a 5-star review, and give me a follow on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Man, who would have known that the emotional dump, and that's what this past weekend was with Freddie Freeman, right? It was a complete emotional dump, getting everything out of him. You know, when Freddie had gone to, L.A., and the Braves came in town for that series. Yeah, I mean, it was emotional, and it was a chance for the kids and the wife to catch up with everybody and the players and the manager and some of the coaches and things like that. But then when it was a matter of coming back here to Atlanta, just a short time later, and you start to run into all of the behind-the-scenes people, right? The clubhouse attendants, the caterers, the security, this guy, that girl, this person, that person, right? You run into all of those familiar faces that you've seen for so many years and really your entire professional baseball career. And I just think the emotion of all of it got to Freddie. But who would have known, and maybe it's not surprising, that yesterday Freddie said to XL management, "You're fired." Now, look, here's the deal. Freddie Freeman, I think, fully and truly believes he should still be an Atlanta Brave. I think in his heart and in his head, he realizes that he screwed the pooch. He should be an Atlanta Brave. Now, look, Chipper gave him the advice. Hey, man, you better take control of these things and this, that, and the other. And I get all of that. But Freddie has never been a free agent. Freddie's never had to go peddle his wares on the open market. He's always been and thought was always going to be an Atlanta Brave. And look, Billy Joel lost his fortune because he allowed his brother-in-law to manage his finances, and he went bankrupt for it. And the guy swindled him out of money and this, that, and the other. My point is, it doesn't matter how close the person is to you, representing you or your financial means and things like that. If you don't take control of the whole situation, you're going to get what you get. And the XL agency backed AA into a corner, and you don't back baby into a corner. And Alex Anthopoulos said, "Hey, okay, you give me an ultimatum, hasta lasagna, don't get any on you. And we'll go get Matt Olson, and then we'll go give him an 8 or 9 year deal or whatever the heck it came out to be. Peanuts, to be honest with you. Doesn't cost him a whole lot at all. More years for less money." So I think Freddie understood all of this. But to go out a few days later after you leave here and you go out and fire your management team, and then we heard reports from John Heyman about how Freddie has said, "Don't send me any agent request." Look, here's the reality of Freddie Freeman. What the hell does he need an agent for at this point? I mean, with all due respect, he just signed what's arguably going to be his final contract of his major league career. At best, right? He gets through this run with the Dodgers. He's got a year or two after that. So he ain't going to have to do a whole lot of negotiating and figuring anything out, right? I mean, he's going to be pushing toward 40 years old when this contract ends. So you're talking about a guy who, okay, if he stays around, it's a year or two. That ain't hard to figure out. That ain't real difficult. And he'll be an aging player. Probably won't be, a $25 million player or $20 million, whatever. I mean, the number comes out to be. So that'll be easy. So truthfully, he doesn't need a management team. But the optics of what Freddie has gone through and done these last several days, it's a little much, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. Clayton Kershaw, I think, had it right. Hey, we hope we're not second fiddle here. And I saw where Freddie had said that he got together with Kershaw to talk about those comments that he made to Gabe Burns, our buddy Gabe Burns, we've had on this show before, and say, we sorted it all out and hashed it all out. My guess is this, though. Clayton Kershaw came up to Freddie here probably in the last, I don't know, what time is it now? Probably in the last few hours, and said, okay, are we done with all this? Can we focus on baseball and us winning and trying to go get back to the world? Can we focus on all that? Are we done with emotional reunions and agents and this, that, and the other and everything like that? Can we focus on the big picture of let's go win baseball games? And this may be cathartic for Freddie in a lot of ways, that this was the final kind of closure that he needed for understanding that his time in Atlanta is done, is to fire his agent. But again, let's be honest. Doesn't the optics of this thing start to look a little bit like, oh my God, come on, Freddie? And I get it. I mean, I understand. He felt like they did him wrong. This would have been one thing if maybe in April he had fired his management team. This might have been another thing if he waited till November to fire his management team. Because again, it really doesn't matter when Freddie fires his management team. What's he need a manager for? What's he need that for? Now, I want to tell you about my friends over at Sports Card Investor. They have this really cool app that I want you guys to check out. Look, you guys know that I'm a sports card collector. You guys know that I'm into baseball cards that have been for whatever, I don't know, 40-something, odd years now. The Sports Card Investor app is amazing. 630,000 cards that you can browse through, and there's 100 added each week. But much like if you use a stock market app, I use E-Trade and things like that, you can find trends, what's hot, what's not, recommendations, what's a good deal, what's not a good deal based on recent sales and things like that. They give you an average of what things have sold for. You want something graded? They've got not only graded, but what condition. They've got multiple companies of graded cards. Or if you want it just raw, ungraded, they've got that inventory as well. It's an amazing app. And if you're a sports card collector like I am, you've got to have this thing, right? It's too hard to try to sort out and go all these different places and try to find, it's not like the old days where I just picked up a Beckett magazine and that's all I needed, right? Now it's a lot more intricate than that. You got eBay and you got these auctions and that and this, that, and the other. Sports Card Investor app makes it really easy. And with a database of over 630,000 cards, it's an amazing thing to do. Download the Sports Investor app today. It's available free in the Google Play Store or on Apple Application Store, or go to sportscardinvestor.com/lockedon. So look, the reality is that Freddie could have done this at any time, right? And it wouldn't have changed anything about Freddie's future, because he's got his last contract locked up, good to go. But the optics of it, right? That's the thing, the timing and the optics. After we got Friday, so I regret and all that. And then you do this out there. Hopefully this is it for Freddie. I like Freddie Freeman. I wish in some ways he was an Atlanta Brave, but we'll talk about his replacement here in just a little bit, because he's got all the tools and everything like that to be, a star here as well. But Freddie's got to understand that this does start to look ridiculous after a while. And I think Clayton Kershaw was really right on spot with the idea of, hey, we don't want to be second fiddle. We got a good group over here. And yeah, we've been, along with the Braves, we've been the best National League franchise for the last, 4 or 5 years or what have you. Let's get back to focusing on baseball. And again, I don't know where he came up with the idea of firing his agent and this, that, and the other, but he has to understand that the optics look a little bit weird with all of this stuff, right? The optics tell you that, okay, Freddie, enough is enough. Focus on baseball. Let's get to winning. And I think, as Clayton Kershaw said, let's not be second fiddle. We need you. We want you. Let's go try to win a World Series for all of this. All right, when we come back, listen, if the Atlanta Hawks get Nate McMillan the pieces that he needs, it's time for him to start doing something with them. We'll talk about that next. It's Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.